Good day, everyone. You are listening to 93.1, the Bessamscott Buffalo radio station, the station of the new morning. To the Dean of the College of Industrial Technology, Dr. Judith M. Loyola, the teaching and non-teaching staff of the college, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share a little about my topic in general education, purposive communication. My session for today is all about the principles of research writing. This is one of the subtopics under communication for academic purposes. With my session, you would be able to save a lot of time and enjoy your research writing process. So stay tuned. You will avoid a lot of excruciating mistakes that students go through when writing research. This is intended to inspire you and provide practical guidelines. I encourage you to stay tuned to the rest of the segment if you fit in any of the categories. Please keep tuning in if you fit in any of the following categories. Are you afraid or scared of writing research? Do you detest or are afraid of writing in general? Or you don't know if you should write a research or complete your degree without it? Or you plan to write a research study? Or you are currently writing a research study? Or you don't know how to start your research? Are you starting to write a research study but lost motivation on the way? Or everyone from your batch has already completed his or her study and you feel like you are a total failure about your own? Or you wish to start your advanced education but you are afraid simply by thinking of the research writing process? Or are you writing your research and you have a specific target date to finish? Or you have limited financial resources and would like to finish your research or dissertation or thesis quickly to avoid extra charges? And or you defended your proposal, or you finished your research and you failed? Or you defended your proposal or finished your research and you need to make major corrections? If you fit in any of these categories, then you have made the right choice to stay tuned in this segment. If you know friends, relatives, or family members who are in these situations, feel free to share it with them. This will give them practical guidelines and will surely inspire them. A lot of people are struggling with their research just like you. I too struggled with my research. When you know that you are not alone, you will gather more personal motivation to start or continue your research writing process. So stay tuned with me. Let's explore things that you may very well related to, and that will help you understand that you are a regular person and everyone else is just like you. The purpose of this session is to help you plan your research study, help you select and work with your committee, manage your time wisely, sharpen your writing skills, design, conduct, finalize, and defend your study. Research writing can be intimidating. A large number of people are not able to actually graduate simply because they are unable to complete their study. As you continue to listen to this session, I hope you find it practical and helpful to your writing process. Feel free to share this with your classmates, friends, and relatives who may be facing the same hurdles in writing progress. There is more blessing that comes from helping others. Without wasting any other time, let's start with how we plan your study. There are practical steps to take in planning your research. It starts from choosing a topic and goes through the different stages of writing. Different fields may require different steps, but there is an overlap. In addition to the different steps needed to choose the topic and write, we will also discuss ways to manage resources wisely. Tips on resource management are also needed in the rest of the writing process. Before anything else, it is important to select a topic. Without the topic, you really have nothing to discuss with the prospective chairperson of your research committee. There are some practical pointers to help you choose and shape your topic to an acceptable level. One is find a topic from classmates, faculty, seminar, conference, forum, journal articles, thesis, dissertations, newspaper, and etc. All these are good sources of a topic. Talking to a classmate or faculty can be a source of a workable topic. Do not, however, allow them to impose a topic on you. You need to work on a topic that you really like. When attending seminars and conferences, you can hear ideas that may help you choose or develop your own topic. If you get hold of a research written on the topic of your interests, go to that section and find what recommendations for further research are written there. The good thing with that strategy is that you can already access the selection of the literature that the author cited. The newspaper can also be a good source of a topic. When reading issues of local communities, you may come up with a topic on a problem that you wish to expose, explore, and address. Please keep in mind that your topic is the big umbrella under which you want to conduct your study. The gap is the specific aspect of that topic where you clearly see that new knowledge is needed to contribute to a better understanding of that topic. The next one is you choose a topic that you like. There has got to be chemistry between you and your topic. It should be a love affair that makes the two of you inseparable. You do not want to enter into a relationship without love. It will most likely fail. Never ask or allow someone else to choose a topic for you. You should choose your own topic. It's yours, not someone else's. Therefore, do not ask others or allow others to impose a topic on you. You can negotiate your topic with them to get their input, but never allow them to impose the topic on you. Your relationship with that topic will not last long. And if it does last, it will be filled with turbulences, discouragement from time to time, or uncertainties. Bottom line, it will most likely not be an enjoyable journey. You will end up completing your research writing just like another unnecessary requirement, instead of an enjoyable journey of meaningful learning. In the worst case scenario, you may not complete it. The other one is choosing an interesting topic to your audience. It is not enough for you to like your topic. It must be a topic that your audience likes too. If your topic is interesting to you alone, then you may struggle to sell it to your committee. This can cost you a lot of time. It is always important to discuss the idea of your topic with your prospective chair of the committee. He or she will usually be in a good position to let you know whether it is interesting or not, feasible or not, researchable or not. The next next one is you have to choose a topic within your field. This world has many interesting topics. Anywhere you turn, you can see problems that need to be addressed. You can, however, address only one problem in your research, and it has to be within your field. It is also important to choose a current topic. Unless you major in history or similar field, your topic should always be about a current issue. People in your field are facing several problems that they do not know how to solve. Help them address those issues. In fact, when you address a current issue, your committee members are most likely to embrace your topic. When you come up with an old issue, your committee members will show no interests. A current topic is a topic that's at the center of the ongoing discussion in your field. You can easily discover the current issues by looking at the trend of topics in the leading journals of your field within the last 3 years. Make your topic manageable. Don't try to solve the problems of the whole world in one research. Work on a small part and leave the rest for your future publications. Go back to your topic and ask yourself and 3 other people to find out if your topic is manageable. One of the best ways to help you narrow down your topic is to work with your committee chair. He or she will most likely be in a position to guide you with that. Focus on a specific topic, a specific population, a specific context, a specific theory, a specific set of variables, and a specific time period. It is also important to think about feasibility, time, money, and other resources required for completion. You may come up with an interesting topic that your committee finds interesting and fascinating. The topic, however, may require you to write for 3 to 5 years to collect data. It might also be a topic that requires you to spend exorbitant amount of money. Know what's in your pocket. Keep in mind how much time you have and how long your topic could take to complete your research. If your chair or your committee tells you that your topic will take too long or too much money, listen to them carefully. Talk to them to see what can be done within acceptable budget and time. You also consider the 3 major criteria of a good research. It must be reachable. It must be researchable, doable, must be original, and contributory to your field or to the society. Is your topic manageable? Is your study about building a new theory or theory testing? What contribution will your study bring to the knowledge base of your field? This last question is a question that you will hear several times at your research defense. If your study that you envision has no clear contribution to the knowledge base, then you should not even start working on it. It's a waste of your time and everyone else's. You have to write a concise and complete title with at least 8 to 15 words. Your title should address the majority of the questions of who, what, where, when, why, and how. Research participants must be in the title. The content should be there. For quantitative studies, you need to identify both the dependent and independent variables clearly. The research setting should be there. If needed or possible, the time period of the phenomenon or problem you are trying to investigate or explore should be included. The reason for conducting the study should be there, such as exploration, investigation, theory building, and theory testing. The research design should be clear to the readers when they read your title. You do not necessarily have to use actual research design in your title, although some titles may have it. Although you may not have all those questions addressed directly in your title, most of them should be, and some may be answered implicitly. We shall now move to writing the problem statement. As you continue to reshape your topic, you must have a clear idea of what the problem is. If there is no problem, then there is no need for a study. A problem statement should be written in such a way that you present the core sentence in an affirmative form, not an interrogative form. One of the practical strategies to write and present your problem statement is to state the background of the study. Remember the inverted pyramid approach that you learned in high school about how to write your introduction? Well, think about it like that. You need to present the umbrella under which your topic comes from. This is where you write the broad topic that you started with. It helps you situate your specific topic within a broader spectrum of things. You can briefly mention the origin of the topic and its relevant theories. Once that's stated, you can now narrow your topic down to the core sentence that presents your actual problem statement. The relevant theories will end up constituting your theoretical framework. You also have to know the problem you are trying to address. The easiest way to start this core sentence is by starting with, the problem is that blank. Complete that sentence in the most concise way possible. You can surround this sentence with some strong facts and statistics to show that this is really a problem. It is not always good to find the causes of a problem without proposing solutions. Remember that a research is meant to address a specific problem. Your problem statement must be a clear reflection of your title. The length of your problem statement may vary from half a page to 3 pages depending on the type of your study, your research design, your topic, and the preference of your committee, department, or the university. In writing your problem statement, you also have to briefly state the importance of your study. Your reader must know why this study is important. They must know the new contribution of the study to the knowledge base before they can continue reading it. To whom will the study be useful? How will it benefit the target group? Do not include people here who are outside of your contexts. Keep in mind the population that you wish to generalize to. If your study was done about students in one high school, you should not state the importance of your study beyond that school. Why? Because you have not collected data from all other schools. Do not overstate the importance of your study. Whatever you write here must be something you are able to deliver by the end of your study. Do not write something here simply to impress your committee. Make sure it is something doable with your study. Furthermore, you also have to consider answering a number of questions as you shape your problem statement and your purpose statement, and as you narrow down your topic. Number one question is that, what causes this phenomenon? Who is especially affected, involved in it? When does it occur? What effects does it have? How do various groups perceive it? What will make it better? What makes it effective? What relationship does it have to other phenomena? We shall now proceed with writing the purpose statement. With strong problem statement, you are in a strong position to present your purpose statement. It is the main goal of your study. It must be aligned very closely with your problem statement and the title of your research. Once there is some disconnection between the three elements, you know you have made a big mistake that will require you some revisions. The purpose statement must reflect not only the title and the problem statement, but also the research question. In fact, each research question should preferably be represented with at least one sentence in the purpose statement. That linkage between the different sections makes your Chapter 1 flow seamlessly. In writing your purpose statement, think about these three elements as they help make it concise and focused on your main topic. Number 1 is you state the main goal of the study. You need to decide whether you will generate or test a theory. Will you design a model as a result of your study? You also have to make the purpose statement clear, specific, and achievable. Avoid degrading and making promises that your study cannot keep. Go straight to the point and make sure it is practical and achievable through your study. The last one is you have to link the purpose statement to the research problem and the research topic. The thread that starts with the title of your research must go straight through all the different sections of your chapter 1 and through all the chapters. Whenever you are done writing a section, you should always go back to the title and to the previous sections to make sure there are clear connection, coherence, and smooth transition between the sections. The next important step is that of writing your research question. For my personal preference is to have 3 to 6 major research questions. In quantitative research, sometimes people have a much longer lists depending on the number of variables that they are investigating. A research question should be broad enough to cover quite a sizable aspect of your research. So there are strategies to help you design strong research questions. Number 1 is you use questions such as what, how, why, to what extent. It is common to find yes/no questions in some quantitative research studies. Preferably, you should avoid such questions. In research, the answer can hardly ever be 100% yes or 100% no. This is why how and to what extent questions fit better than yes or no questions. The next one is you have to connect research questions to the topic, problem statement, and purpose statement. Again, this connection between research questions and all the previous sections is important. The moment there is a disconnection, you know you have to make revisions. To avoid the necessary delays in the writing process, make sure this connection is strong and clear. The third one is you write clear research questions. You have to avoid having more than one question in one research question. It should be specific enough to address one aspect of your study. Yet, it should be broad enough to cover a big chunk of your research study. It is not recommended to write this research question. What is the profile of the research participants? In social studies, it is a given that you must report the profile of the research participants. So, you need not ask a question about it. If your study is all about demographics, then this question would be relevant. Otherwise, it is unnecessary. If you are writing a quantitative study, bear in mind the statistical tools that you plan to use as you write or you formulate your research questions. And the last one is you state the research hypothesis. So in thesis or dissertation, it is common to have a hypothesis stated. Usually, you must use the null hypothesis for each of your research questions. Null hypotheses are naturally based on the assumption that there is no relationship between two variables. If the literature has already pointed out that there is a relationship, you will then write the directional hypothesis instead of the null hypothesis. The next one is writing theoretical or conceptual framework. The theoretical framework is a synthesis of theories that you believe are the basis of your study. Whatever selection of theories you have in your theoretical framework must be seen throughout the rest of the chapters. You can have a theoretical framework in either quantitative or qualitative research. The conceptual framework, however, is for quantitative research only. It is a graphic that displays the relationships between the different variables. It has arrows that show the direction of the different relationships. The work of the research is therefore to investigate to what extent these relationships are true. If you wish to have a conceptual framework in qualitative research, it is usually a figure to show how the study will be carried out. It is not about any specific variables. If you wish to tell the reader up front that you will focus on some specific factors and you wish to show that in a graphic, the graphic should not have any arrow between the different factors in the qualitative research, thesis, or dissertation. Also, in your research, in your thesis, or in your dissertation, you must discuss the scope of your study and the challenges that you anticipate or factors that you were not able to control. You have to present the limitations and limitations. So we have here important things to consider to understand better the context of our study. Number one is to specify the scope of your study, the population, setting, and the theory, and that's we call delimitations. Delimitations are all about what you will be able to do or focus on. You simply place clear boundaries on the focus of your study. You clearly state what will not be included and, if possible, why it is not necessary or possible for your study. So that's all about the limitations. We now move on to the limitations. So think deep about the potential challenges or weaknesses of your study. In real human life, we all learn to hide our weaknesses. Well, in research, you have to acknowledge those weaknesses. As you acknowledge them, they become strengths. So think about conditions, situations, or factors that could make it hard or impossible for you to do certain things in your research study. Explain what you plan to do to try to minimize the impact of those weaknesses in your study. Another important thing to consider is to manage your resources wisely. Completing your thesis successfully requires you to improve your managerial skills of the resources that are available to you. As you will see soon, you must handle and manage several types of resources. Without proper management, you can waste many of those resources. So here are some strategies that you can try to improve your resources management skills. So for number one, you have to manage your time efficiently through prioritizing timelines and deadlines. So your thesis writing can be a lonely process. It's an independent process. No one imposes deadlines or timelines on you. You can decide to finish your work in 6 months or 6 years. Your professors or loved ones may encourage you to write fast, but no one can truly make you write fast. So self-discipline is highly needed here. You need to make writing your priority. No one will make it a priority for you. You need to work on your own timelines and deadlines. The next one is for you to consider a writing retreat. If you are working full-time when you write your thesis, it can be challenging to find time to write. Sometimes one thing that you can do is to take off from work and your family life and go somewhere for a week or two to focus solely on your writing. You also have to consider your financial resources. On one hand, you need to design a study that fits within your financial means. On the other hand, keep in mind that you will probably spend more than what you budgeted for. This happens often, so you should avoid designing something that, to start with, is already out of your financial reach. You also have to utilize your personal network. Your family, your colleagues, your friends, your classmates, and experts. Since you are disconnected from your faculty and your classmates, you need to strengthen your other networks for support. Lack of support is another reason to lose focus with your thesis or your dissertation writing. So make sure you are in good relationship with members of your different networks. So people hate to help if the only time you talk to them is when you need help for them. So you have to consult regularly with your mentor, advisor, or chairperson. You have to develop a strong support system with the library, classmates, faculty, relatives, and friends. You have to reach out to experts in your field as needed. Do not abuse their generosity. You also have to develop needed skills through seminars, workshops, or additional courses. And you have to borrow skills that you do not have. Speaking of developing the needed skills through seminars, workshops, or additional courses, you need to look critically at your personal skills and find out what you need to improve on. You know yourself more than anyone else. Be honest with yourself and do a thorough introspection to discover your own weaknesses. Look for seminars and workshops or even some additional courses that can help you sharpen those skills. Some skills that you need may be skills that you will probably not use beyond your thesis or dissertation. So you temporarily need them. For instance, one of the things that is hard to do is creating a well-formatted table of contents. Once your thesis or dissertation is complete, this is a task that you don't get to do on a regular basis. In fact, you don't write any other large document in the future. You may live the rest of your life without ever having to create another table of contents. So, for such a skill, just ask or pay someone to do it for you if you know that it's a serious struggle for you. In a way, when you write a thesis, a research or a dissertation, you become a leader in your own right for your writing journey. According to Bradbury in 2015, there are 12 habits of great leaders. Number 1 is you have to be courageous. You have to be an effective communicator. You have to be generous. You have to be humble. You have to be self-aware. You need to know yourself, your strength, and your weaknesses. You have to adhere to the golden rule. You are passionate about the topic, your research study, infectious. You have to spend some time to convince your prospective committee members about the value of your topic. You are authentic. Even if you are conducting a replication study, it must still have its originality. And then, approachability. Some people feel like they are superstars, they know it all. They are superior or they are smarter when they are writing their thesis or dissertations. They become less and less approachable. Don't be like that. You have to be approachable. Because this attitude will only lead you to being isolated from other people. The next one is you have to be accountable. During your coursework, there are preset deadlines that come with penalties if you miss them. So with your thesis, with your research, no one sets those deadlines for you. You have to be accountable to yourself. And also, sense of purpose. Why are you writing your thesis or dissertation? Never lose the focus on the goal of your thesis during your whole writing journey. The moment you lose that purpose, you start drifting away from your course of thesis writing. Soon you drop from it. Planning your research is important. Spending some time to make important decisions on the preliminary can save tremendous amount of time in the long run. Planning will certainly give you a reason to enjoy the rest of the journey. If planning is rushed and not well thought out, frustration can be expected. There should be a clear link between the different sections and the title of the manuscript. The first chapter must convince your committee that your study is worth undertaking. It should present a solid foundation of the rest of your study. Once you have a good idea about what you plan to focus on for your research or your thesis, it is time to choose your committee members. In ideal academic settings, you have the right to choose who can be member of your committee. In less than ideal ones, however, you are assigned a committee. I hope you will get to choose your own committee because the selection of the faculty members to form your committee is a very crucial step. A mistake made with this selection can definitely have a disastrous impact on your thesis writing process and completion. Additionally, knowing how to work effectively and efficiently with your committee can help speed up your writing process. In choosing well your committee members, there are factors to consider, and one of which is you have to check their availability. A specific professor may be really good. He or she may be an expert on your topic and an expert in your research design, a respected scholar in your field, but no time to read your drafts. You know well that having that person in your committee will give a better image to your work, but you know that this person will delay you due to his or her busy schedule. Be realistic. Ask the professor if he or she can save time for you. If no time is available for him or her to help you, simply choose someone else. You also have to choose an experienced chairperson who can truly guide and defend you. If a potential chairperson has never assumed that role before, be careful, because this person does not know the process and has no experience guiding a student in thesis or research writing. This professor may make your journey more challenging as he or she tries to learn the process. If none of your professors has guided any student in thesis writing, choose the one who has at least been a member of some thesis committee before. A faculty who regularly conducts and publishes research would also be a good choice. If some of your potential chairs have no doctorate or doctoral degree yet, give preference to those who have already received their doctorate. Anyone who has completed a doctoral dissertation is most likely to know more about how to guide you because he or she has also gone through that rigorous process. There are some factors to consider in your selection process. You have to make sure the prospective chairperson wants you to be the best, academically and professionally. Work with your chair to choose your two other members. Check the compatibility between the members. You also have to keep in mind that your chairperson is your mentor, your guide, your lawyer, and your first point of contact with your department in your university. The other important one in choosing well your committee members is to check the members' expertise or experience in content and in research. In most universities, the committee is made of at least 3 people. Using this approach helps you to have a manager, the research methodologist, and the content expert. In the end, you get a solid thesis or research-wise and content-wise. Choose members who are really willing to help you. Professors you have had good relationship during your coursework. Professors who can support you while still challenging you as they push you to excellence. You also need to check the member's passion for your topic. If a specific potential member is not interested in your topic, do not force him or her to join your committee. Such a member will always try to find ways to divert you from your direction. They would not even have the passion to give you timely feedback because they are not attuned to your topic. You also need to evaluate the committee candidate's record of corresponding promptly and constructively. It is preferable for you to form your committee with professors you have taken some courses from. If you remember any professor who used to give you timely and constructive feedback, that professor should be considered for your committee. Do not select a potential committee member simply because he or she doesn't challenge you. You want someone who can truly give constructive feedback. Bottom line, when selecting your committee members, make sure they are willing to work with you. They are compatible with each other to avoid unnecessary complications that can result in delays. They have your best interests in mind, willing and ready to help you succeed as a scholar. They have time to work with you. They can provide timely feedback. They have expertise in what you are asking them to help you with. And they also have experience working on the thesis or dissertation committee and experience in conducting research. Ignoring any of these factors can easily affect the quality of your thesis or your research and the pace of your writing. As a researcher, you also have to deal effectively with your committee members. You have to work with your chairperson first before working with the other two members. Students always think that it saves time. It saves them time if they send their draft concurrently to all the members. Unless this is what your chairperson recommended to you, you are always better off by having your chair approve a draft before you send it to the other two members. The chairperson is supposed to work harder and more with you than any other member on your committee. So let him or her work with you and improve your draft before it is sent to the other two members. Following this approach helps you avoid receiving the same feedback from 3 different people. In the end, it helps you speed up your writing process. By the time the draft is sent to the other 2 members, it is already solid. The other 2 members therefore have very few recommendations for revisions if the chairperson worked well with you. You also have to make sure at least one committee member is an expert in your research design and at least one in your content area. This helps you to have a balanced committee to allow you to have both strong research design and strong content from the perspective of your field. You have to ask their preference of communication. Ask them whether they prefer email or face-to-face meetings. Ask them how frequently they wish to have a meeting with you. Some may even prefer a phone call. Follow whatever preference each committee members propose to you. Do not impose your own preference on them, although you can negotiate to some extent. In trying to be better organized and to save some trees, it is ideal to use electronic copies. There are, however, professors who still prefer printed copies. So it is important to ask their preferred copy. Will it be electronic or printed copy? Do not try to force them to use electronic copies. Just keep in mind that you have to budget some money for the printing expenses. Ask the preference of each committee member unless your university or school has a policy on the type of copy to be used. Present them a clear timeline. Every semester, work on a practical timeline that you wish to follow. Share it with your committee so that they know when to expect your drafts. Try your best to follow the timeline. If you break your own timeline, it does not make that your committee's priority to work with you on a tight schedule later. The other positive aspect of such a timeline is that it helps you to stay focused on your writing. You feel ashamed to keep breaking the different deadlines that you yourself set. So such a timeline could be a very good personal motivator. You also need to ask them their vacation time and factor it in your timeline. This journey is not all about you. Your committee members have their own life to live both personally and professionally. Respect their schedules. Your schedule should take into consideration their schedules. Take time to ask them if they have long travels or hectic schedules expected during the semester. You then make sure your drafts are sent to them when their schedules are a little bit more open. Avoid harassing them if the agreed time has not passed yet. Most universities have a policy on the maximum number of days or weeks that a committee member can take before returning feedback to you. The ideal time is about 2 weeks. In a case like this, you should not start calling, texting, messaging, emailing, or visiting your committee member if that time period hasn't passed yet. Of course, you can let them know when you submit a draft that you are in a hurry to meet a certain university deadline. But making this request doesn't give you the right to harass your committee members if they don't return feedback to you before those 2 weeks. Again, this is where diplomacy plays an important role. If a professor promised to try to give you feedback within a week, then you send a very polite reminder at the end of that week with some attitude of gratefulness. You have to show gratefulness. I am not talking about buying expensive gifts for all your committee members, unless this is already the culture of the university. When you receive feedback from your committee members, acknowledge receipt of the feedback. Thank them for the timely and/or constructive feedback. Follow their feedback. When you resubmit, explain how you integrated their feedback in your revisions. If they have any personal event or problem that is known to the public, be the first to bring your support. It could be a greeting card, a prayer, an email message, or anything else that can demonstrate your thoughtfulness. You also have to know what advisors expect from you. Being their advisee, obviously, you have expectations for your committee members. Well, they have the right to have expectations for you. Many times, however, these expectations are not given to you. They are often unwritten. You may hear some professors talking about them one at a time. Here are some. You have to work independently. You have to think deep and critically. Submit drafts as needed. Be available for regular meetings at mutually convenient time. You have to be honest about your progress. You have to choose to follow advice or offer valid reasons for not choosing to do so. You also have to know what to expect from your advisor. There are a few things you should expect from your advisor. Unfortunately, many advisors do not know your rights. They have never been trained. You should expect the following from your advisor: to supervise and advise you, to read your work before meetings, to be available when needed at mutually suitable times, to be supportive and provide timely constructive feedback, and of course, to have thorough knowledge of the field and or research design, and to critically challenge you to be better for the sake of the quality of your work. As a researcher, you also have to know what to expect from your committee members. Expecting from your committee members what should not be expected from them could create misunderstanding that will lead to a sour relationship. Your committee members are expected to do the following: They have to engage you in extensive scholarly conversation, assure that your study has meaning for you and other scholars, assure compliance with ethical standards, provide you with timely written or oral constructive feedback, and then assure adequate preparation for your oral defense. Lastly, in dealing effectively with your committee members, you have to avoid conflict with your committee members. At any costs, avoid getting into any unnecessary argument or any type of conflict with any member of your committee. All the time, try to make peace with all the members. This doesn't mean, however, that you have to accept everything you are told, even what is wrong. As a scholar in the making, you need to be able to ask questions if a specific member is misleading you. However, you must do it tactfully that they do not feel like they are being ignored. Treat them with respect. Let them know how much you value them. And if ever there is any conflict, try to resolve it as quickly as possible and then move on. A researcher should also show professionalism in dealing with your committee. The thesis or research writing or other creative dissertation. Writing process is a training opportunity for you as a professional. You learn to think and act professionally. The process takes you to a whole new level of professionalism. According to Joyner, it was described in few strategies that you can grow professionally when you use this in your writing process. You have to make and respect appointments. You need not to telephone a member at home unless directed otherwise. You have to be sensitive to your committee members' schedules and vacations. Use a business-like or formal manner when emailing your committee members and keep your committee informed about your progress. Now, how do we deal effectively with the feedback? Part of a successful research writing journey depends on your willingness and ability to integrate feedback from your committee members into your revised versions. Willingness alone is not enough if there is no ability. This means you are unable to actually integrate feedback effectively, although you are willing to do it. When your committee members read the revised version, they are frustrated because they feel that you simply don't know how to follow instructions. The result is equally bad because you are unable to support any relation to your committee. One without the other will only delay your writing process. There are strategies you can use about getting clarifying and implementing feedback received from your committee members. And that is to send a timed reminder. You have to follow up if feedback is delayed. You have to request face-to-face meeting if feedback continues to be delayed. When you receive feedback, find time to read it in full. If you are mentally stable, acknowledge receipt of the feedback immediately. Do not immediately reply to the member if you are stressed, angry, or disappointed. Choosing committee members is a step that must be taken with special care. The wrong formation of a committee can cause too much inefficiency and ineffectiveness in your writing process. The personalities of the committee members should be compatible with each other's. They should also be compatible with yours. The prospective committee members should have needed expertise and advising experience to serve on your committee. You should work methodically with each one of them. You should integrate feedback carefully and ask for clarification when feedback is unclear. By default, you must always work and communicate professionally with your committee members. Moreover, for anything unclear, kindly request clarification. If the new clarification is still not clear enough, schedule a face-to-face or online meeting. You have to submit the revised copy with some brief explanation of changes. For conflicting or unhelpful feedback from a member, check with your chairperson. For sour relationship with a committee member, carefully consider replacing him or her. One of the major reasons why people struggle to complete their research journey on time is the lack of self-discipline in time management. Once you are done with your coursework, you have no more deadlines. You feel you own time because it suddenly becomes like it's limitless. Knowing how to manage time wisely will definitely hasten the completion of your writing process. Managing time wisely is an important component of a successful research writing process. A clear plan should be established, timeline and deadline set. You need to take care of your health because ignoring your health will not only cost your time, it can cost you a lot of money. Save time by applying the different strategies discussed. It may be true that some people are naturally good with time management. It's part of who they are. It's their personality. The good news, however, is that time management skills can be learned. There is a lot written on time management. However, the tips presented are those directly related to and important for research writing. And that is, you have to have clear goals and timeline. Give yourself some allowance of time. Set a specific time for writing. Have someone to hold you accountable. Make the library your new home. You also have to get your priority right. You have to avoid idle moments. And you save time by using some practical strategies. Researchers should make use of technology to their advantage. Today, there is quite a large collection of technologies that can be used to make your thesis or dissertation writing more successful. Just like computer, personal memos, saving devices, the cloud, Mendeley, EndNote, and Microsoft Word. YouTube is also helpful. Text to mind map, delicious readability applications, online datasets, online instruments. They do not replace your thinking. You must still use your own thinking, but they can save a lot of time in your thinking process. Managing time wisely is an important component of a successful research writing process. A clear plan should be established, timeline and deadline set. You need to take care of your health because ignoring your health will not only cost your time, it can cost you a lot of money. Save time by applying the different strategies discussed. This one is also very important for those researchers. You really have to take care of yourself. When you are writing your thesis, your research, your dissertation, it is important to take good care of yourself. Avoid getting sick. always be in good emotional, physical, and spiritual shape to function well mentally. You have to spend time with God. Spend time talking to God during your thesis or dissertation writing process. Often, many people are extremely busy with the writing that they forget to spend time meditating and talking to God. The divine power and strength from above are highly needed during this challenging activity. In time of loneliness that is involved in thesis or dissertation writing, you need a friend who is ever present, and that is God. So spend regular time with Him. Pray and study His Word. Count on His promises to see you through the tough times of your life. You also have to watch signs, mental signs, like self-criticism, procrastination, excessive worry, negative thoughts, confusion, and state of being stuck. You also have to watch your emotional signs, like loss of motivation, discouragement, feeling of failure, depression or low self-esteem, fear, anger, and feeling of powerlessness. Also, physical signs, like you lack of energy, you are tired, feel fatigue, extreme weight loss or extreme weight gain or sickness. So you have to check all those signs. You have to take them seriously. You also have to take care of your health. You have to exercise regularly for better productivity. You have to pay attention to your body if working overtime. Use healthy diet and hydration to prevent sickness. There is a lot of information available online today about good diet and proper ways of hydrating yourself. So choose those that work for you, your schedule and your setting. You have to follow them. You also have to seek help from experts for your mental, physical, and emotional and spiritual needs. When in need of an expert, don't hesitate to find one. And this one is also very important. You have to have time for your loved ones. Many make a big mistake by isolating themselves when writing their thesis or their dissertation. This can get the writer to become stressed, frustrated, and actually depressed. So you really need time for your loved ones, like your friends, your relatives. You need to reconnect and re-energize through the social support that you get from your loved ones. Sharpening your writing skills requires a lot of time, effort, patience, and personal discovery. You can no longer avoid improving your writing skills. For 6 to 12 months on average, your regular work is on writing when you are in your research journal. You need to embrace writing. Use the several tips shared in this session. Write regularly. Read journal articles to get familiar with the scholarly writing into your system. Designing a study must follow a specific research design. You need to learn and apply well the different principles of the selected research design. You must use the best practices recommended for data collection and data analysis of your selected research design. You need to know your design so well that you can teach it as a course. You must document every step taken in conducting your study and explain why each one of them was taken. You must closely follow all the ethical standards. By the time they finish reading your methodology, your readers need to feel like they were there with you during your data collection. They should feel like everything you did follows the best standard and that it explains why you got the findings that you got. They need to feel that you know your stuff well on your selected research design. In your research, it is important work to present your results and interpret your findings. This is where you have to show to the world that you know how to actually address a research problem using a systematic scientific method. This is where you present data truthfully, logically, and convincingly. Such a work of carefulness helps you prepare well for your final defense because it requires you to think about your results from all different perspectives until you fully understand your study. It helps you to get to really know your study and what it means to you, to your audience, and to both practitioners and theorists. The final step under the supervision of your committee is your final defense. You also have to finalize your study. Once you have conceptualized, planned, and carried out your study, it is time to analyze, report, and interpret your data. If everything went well in all the previous stages, this stage of writing is exciting. It is exciting because you know exactly what you are doing and you can't wait to tell the world what you found. You are ready to present your data, analyze it, and draw some conclusions. You feel like you are ready to change the world because you can't wait to make those recommendations for everyone who reads your work, even though few of them will end up implementing exactly what you recommend. You need to present your data organization plan. You need to think of a good way to present your data. Your readers should find it easy and logical to access the data. It should be presented in such a way that anyone who reads your research, your thesis, or your dissertation does not have to talk to you to understand what you wrote. Your data presentation should run smoothly and in an interesting way. You also have to state your data analysis methods. Based on your research design and your research methods, you need to select your data and data analysis methods. You have to explain why they are the best fit for your thesis or your research. Back your choice with relevant literature. Each research design comes with recommended data analysis methods. You have to follow them carefully and justifiably. You use your data coding accurately and efficiently. You discuss the methods you will use to analyze your data. You also discuss the statistical tests that you will run for your quantitative research study and the methods you will use to move from raw data to the highest level of abstraction if you are writing a qualitative study. Results are usually presented in Chapter 4 in Social Sciences. This chapter is solely focused on presenting the results without discussing them in relation with existing literature. In this chapter, you report your results as seen in your table and figures. You do not make any discussion, you simply present the data as it is. You report the frequencies, the tests, and the themes, and carefully back them up with the data presented in the chapter. Present the data in a way that it is easy for your readers to easily understand what's happening. And also, you have to discuss and interpret your findings. After you present your data and results in Chapter 4, you are ready to discuss and interpret your findings in Chapter 5. And this is the last chapter. You synthesize your findings, you discuss what they mean for your research problem, you address the research questions, and you link your discussion to existing literature and existing theories. You explain what the findings of your study mean for your study, your field, for practical applications, and for further research. And of course, it is also important to conclude your study. You need a beautiful conclusion for your research study. You have to briefly summarize your major findings. You have to write down the recommendations and reflect on your thesis or dissertation journey. And the last one is, this is very important, you have to prepare for your defense. So after your study is complete, it's time to prepare for your final defense. Some preliminary steps in proper preparation for your final defense can make a significant difference in the outcome of your defense. Defending your thesis or your research requires you to prepare well. If you have prepared well, you have already made important progress towards your successful defense. During the defense, show confidence. Take leadership of your defense by supporting all you say with data and by citing other scholars and existing research. Address the questions without degrading. Avoid telling a lie and act professional throughout the exercise. Demonstrate a spirit of gratitude. Use practical techniques proven to work well in public speaking, such as smiling, drinking some water when mouth is dry, and keeping eye contact when talking to your panel members of the defense. Enjoy your defense because it is really your celebration moment when you are given a privilege to showcase your work. Defend to your panel, not to your audience. Keep a level of humility despite showing confidence. Do not allow yourself to be swayed away from your topic. Always find a way to refocus your panel on your study to avoid stepping on the ground you are not familiar with. Thank you for listening. This is Cesar Dilao Almunicar Jr., Subject Instructor of the College of Industrial Technology. I hope I have inspired and shared everything that will make you successful in your research endeavor, in your thesis or dissertation writing. God bless you as you continue your journey. And congratulations.